Chip from 5th Edition Visions, and I'm here to make a video that I've wanted to make for a while. I actually wanted to make it a couple weeks ago when I went down to Thursday Night Modern at my local card shop, and I met a deck that I hadn't met before. Now, many of you, if you are seasoned Magic the Gathering players, this is probably not the channel for you. You probably know all of this stuff. But this is a type of channel for my own benefit, as much as other, returning players or beginning players, to learn what cards are out there. Just as I learned that this deck is out there, and it did me no favors against my Sphinx's Revelation deck. I also like to make these videos simply because I like to dialogue a little bit about my life. I'm a young father. I have lots of other responsibilities besides Magic the Gathering. But I like to document the few things that I am able to do with the game that I happen to love. I've loved it since I was a teenager in middle school playing it. And then a couple of years back, I started buying cards again. I was very impressed with how the game had evolved and how it continues to develop. And I look forward to many, many years of enjoying pre-releases and tournaments and seeing the story unfold and purchasing new cards and also, of course, playing the game with my children and hopefully grandchildren someday. I am of the persuasion that Magic the Gathering will be with us for a long time. Think about comics. I also happen to like comics a little bit. So comics, were called this 10-cent plague. Way back in the day, they were considered trash. People threw them out. Well, guess what? We're talking 70 years later, 75. The Wonder Woman movie comes out, and that's how I know this, because she turned 75 years old, and she's not even the biggest of the comic book characters out there. So comic books are not going away. Those characters are very durable. They will be around for the next 25 years, the next 50 years. In 100 years, I do believe we will continue to read about the stories of Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and all of that universe of comics. Magic the Gathering, I believe, will be the same way, particularly as the story continues to unfold and as we can, as players, you can manipulate the cards and enter into this imaginary world in a much more active way than, say, some other fantasy worlds out there. So I make these because I do believe that it will matter in a year, 2 years, 3 years, people's thoughts about Magic the Gathering as the game continues to unfold. Okay, but that's a rather long introduction. Let's talk about these 4 cards that are blinking across your screen. There are 2 red, 2 green, and if you are familiar with this type of deck, you already know that it's a red-green land destruction deck. And I hadn't met it before, and as I was playing my Sphinx's Revelation deck that had done me well earlier in the tournament because I got my cards out, and as soon as you kind of get the ball rolling with that deck, you're just going to be out of kill range for them. Well, I was not able to get sufficient lands out because of these 4 cards. So I wanted to document them, remember them. And if you're a new player, these are 4 cards to watch out for if you are playing against a land destruction deck. So, Stone Rain, which is a red card, 1 red, 2 generic, destroy target land. I remember this card when I played in middle school. It destroys a land, very useful. So I wasn't too surprised to see that. But then these other 3 cards, well, the other two cards. Blood Moon, which is 1 red, 2 generic. I had known about Blood Moon before, but it was very vicious because obviously in Modern, everybody's running fetch lands, so then it turns into mountains and then they're useless, particularly if you're playing blue and white like I was. It did me no favors. But these 2 green cards, Beast Within and 1 Voli Acid Moss, were very interesting, and they're not very expensive cards. In fact, none of these are expensive with the exception of Blood Moon, which can run you $25, $30. But these 2 green cards are not. So Beast Within, you get to destroy a target permanent, and then to do them a favor for destroying their permanent, which is usually a land if you're running this card in a land destruction deck, they get to create a 3/3 beast creature token. Okay? And then the Acid Moss, destroy target land, search your library for a forest card, and put that card into play tapped and shuffle your library. So you get to destroy one of their lands, and you get to go up a land on yourself. So I was just fascinated with this deck, and I know that Mark Rosewater has said before that players do not like land destruction that much. And so they try to step away from designing cards that do a lot of land destruction, which is probably why there's not a whole lot of cards you can pull in for the land destruction. But this gets the job done. This is enough. There's enough tools out there to create a land disruption deck, which is here. So obviously, it did me no favors. I'd play a land, it got destroyed. Play another land, got destroyed. And again, running a blue-white deck that's control, I really needed to, get my legs under me in order to be effective, and it just never happened. So I was fascinated by the deck. I do want to build one myself. Unfortunately, I'm still trying to save up more to bling out my mill deck, and then I want to bling out my green-white tokens deck, and then I want to build this deck. I want to build a merfolk deck. So there's so many decks I want to build, and it gets very expensive, but that's part of the joy of the journey, I believe, in Magic the Gathering. And someday, when I'm retired and I have grown children and grandchildren, I'd love to have a collection of great decks that we can all swap and share and go to some of these events together. But anyway, this video has been rather long, longer than I thought it would be, but I hope it was enlightening for you, both about the cards but then also about my philosophy for making these videos, which I'm sure I will touch upon in subsequent videos. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a fantastic day. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.